deal with all that stuff so that you make sure it doesn't happen again. I really think that humans are stupid enough to only learn the hard way. And life really doesn't have to be that complicated. When you see somebody that has something you want,
like he has me and I'm going, and then for a second he says something and I'm like, wait, what?
How we doing? My name is Vish.
And I'm Nina.
And today we'll be reacting to Andrew Tate's video on
motivational speech on don't quit.
Let's get into it.
I can never be depressed if I never slow down. Speed is extremely important. Speed defies gravity. How does a plane fly through the air and defy gravity? Speed. It's moving too fast to fall. If you're always attacking life, if you're always doing things, if you're always making more money, if you're always traveling the world, doing this, doing that, new car, here, there, new podcast, meeting James English, boom, boom, boom. You know, if you're always doing things all the time, unhappiness can't catch you. But I also know that speed is a fantastic way to be happy all the time. I'm always looking forward to something. I wake up every day excited. I'll go do this today. I'll go do this today. I'll go do this today. And I very much live my life in a frame of, not I have to do this. It's very much a I get to do this. There's another thing that a lot of people make a mistake with when I talk to them. Like, I have to go to work today. Change your language. I get to go to work today. Imagine you had no job. It'd be worse, right? Because otherwise you wouldn't be working. So you get to go to work. I have to fix the car. At least you have a car. You get to fix your car.
Anxiety is something that I used to really struggle with. I wasn't sure if I would ever get through it.
I remember having anxiety and thinking that it was going to last literally forever. I used to have panic attacks, racing thoughts, and super uncomfortable physical symptoms.
Learn the 3 simple steps that we took to get through anxiety in the link in the description down below.
We look forward to seeing you there.
Most people don't got one. I have to go get the kids. You get to go get the kids because you have these beautiful children who love you. You understand? People's, even their own language is wrong. The world can be framed. Maybe I'm completely crazy. Maybe I'm full of shit, like you said. Maybe I am. But the frames I've installed in my mind are all beneficial to me. So if that makes me crazy and full of shit, good. Because I can't become depressed. So you can sit there and tell me I'm full of shit while you're depressed, and I'm happy. And I would never want to adopt the thinking of a depressed person.
People will shield laziness with anything. No one wants to admit they're lazy. So they'll shield it with disbelief. That's a scam. Or, I don't work hard, I work smart. Bollocks. More cover. For just anything it takes to say, I don't want to work.
Do you believe in that? Work smarter, not harder?
I believe in both.
Yeah.
But there's a time when it comes to work smart. And most people are trying to do the smart work before they do the hard work. It's kind of like talent, right? You don't notice if you're talented at something until all the hard work's done.
Yep.
I could be the most talented tennis player in the world, but I don't play tennis. So if I go down the tennis court, Joe Schmo's going to smoke me. I don't get to see my talent until I've worked so hard that I'm in the top 1%, and now I'm beating them because I have some God-given gift.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
You have to do the hard work first. If there's no hard work, there's no smart work. So someone's going to sit there and go, I work smart, I don't work hard, so I only have to work an hour a day. If working smart gets you a lot done in an hour a day, then you should work smart for 12 hours a day and get 12 times the work done. I am absolutely and utterly a believer in hard work. I'm a proponent of hard work. I have all this money and all I do is work. My entire life is work. This podcast is work. I'm getting in the car, I'm going to another meeting, work. I want to go to the gym so I'm in good shape, work. It's all work. My entire life is work. And people don't want to look at life that way. They want to talk about work-life balance and being lazy and all this crap. I don't believe in any of that. I believe in, if you want to win, you have to outcompete the man who's prepared to do nothing but work. It's player versus player. If you're going to sit there and go, I don't want to work more than an hour a day, well, the guy who does want to work more than an hour a day is going to beat you. And no matter how smart you are, there's always a smart dude who's doing the same smart work you are for more hours than you're doing it. That's just the nature of the game. The way that humans work and the way that we've evolved as a species is that we don't really learn lessons unless they're learned the hard way.
Yeah.
I believe that unless a lesson is taught the hard way, you're not going to learn it. You can have so many near misses and people won't learn their lesson. Bro, you must know a guy who goes out there, nearly crashes his car, nearly crashes his car, nearly crashes his car, doesn't slow his ass down till he wrecks it.
Yeah.
Like, this is just how people are, right? So you need that pain for the lesson to sting enough to really genuinely go inside of your mind. And it's the same with everything. It's the same with driving a car or business. Truthfully, if you want to learn a lesson about business, you're going to have to suffer at some point, right? So we always say that most people are not successful with their first companies, X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. I get that. The truth is, there's a lot of people who make a lot of money with their first company, but they just spunk it act an idiot, and it all blows up in their face. And that's how you get the discipline on your fourth company, that when you have $3 million in the bank, you just leave it there. You know, and don't be done with it. So you need to go through some pain. You need to experience some negative things. You need to have to a degree some trauma to really even learn any lessons. So yeah, business studies, you're right. The book, that's not going to teach you anything about business. You need to get out there on the streets. You need to make mistakes. You need to suffer. You need to have the tax man knocking at your door. You got to deal with all that stuff so that you make sure it doesn't happen again. I really think that humans are stupid enough to only learn the hard way. And life really doesn't have to be that complicated. When you see somebody that has something you want, you just got to try and work out how they got it.
Yeah.
And that's the missing part. Most people see people with things they want, and they don't do the second half. They don't try and work out how they got that thing. Oh, my man has a Ferrari. Okay. I wish I had a Ferrari. Okay. They don't sit there and go for an hour. How did he get a Ferrari? It doesn't cross that part is the part they don't want to do, right? They just go, oh, he has a Ferrari, wish I had a Ferrari, and they go back to TV.
Yeah.
And that's why they lose. It's player versus player out here, man. It's on the street. It's not easy. For every dollar you make, for every pound you take, you took it from someone else. You don't make money, you take money. People don't understand the way that money works. You're not the Federal Reserve. You can't create money from thin air. Every single pound in your bank is money you took from someone else. And when I say take, I don't mean it in a negative way. You might have convinced them to give it to you. You might have a coffee shop. I'll give you a nice coffee. You'll give me some money. Cool. But you still took his money.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're out here trying to take stuff from other people, don't you want to have a team? You want to do it by yourself? You want to be Rambo?
Because if you get two of you doing it.
You get two of you. That's right. So the whole idea of this lone soldier, this Rambo, I'll do it all by myself, that's all dead, bro. You need to have a team. It's player versus player. And for the same reason, if you were out here on the street and you want to defend yourself, you want your boys around you, it's the same thing with trying to get rich. And you're laughing with your boys.
Yeah.
The brokey days are great. And I'm not complaining about being rich. Obviously, I worked hard for this, and it's a fantastic life I live now. But I think without those brokey days, without those original days to compare it to, without that juxtaposition, then I don't think being rich would be fun at all. I think it's only fun because you can compare it to the days when you weren't rich. That's the only thing that makes it fun. The only thing that makes a $10,000 steak fun is that you can laugh saying how you never had 10 grand in your bank till you were 27 years old.
Yeah.
Like otherwise it's boring. Otherwise, okay, steak. And I think if you're born with too much money, that you'll never truly be happy. I think you need the brokey days. They're the best days. They're the best days.
Every time I watch an Andrew Tate video, I find myself like,
It's like a roller coaster, right? Of internalization.
Like he has me and I'm going, and then for a second he says something and I'm like, wait, what? And then I'm
Pause.
back, and then he gets me back on. I'm like, all right, yeah, no, I see where you're going. And then he says something else. I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, clearly controversial person. We're reacting to a canceled man. What was your first take?
okay, so he started off saying that he needs speed. And that he's never going to slow down because as long as you're speeding, you can't get depressed.
Which I love the example in terms of analogy because he compared it to a plane, right? If you really think about it, people, when they're depressed or they're going downward spiral, they're going down. And an airplane is up. And in order for a plane to stay up, it's got to be fast. If it's slowing down, it's going down. I'm not saying I agree with the analogy, but I like the analogy. But go on.
Yeah, it was a good comparison. But aren't you then depending on speed to be happy? Then you have to maintain that speed throughout your whole life. Then you don't have that choice to slow down if you're dependent on that to be happy.
It's very similar to Jordan Peterson, right? Jordan Peterson is just saying instead of speed, it's responsibility. If you guys have seen our other video where we react to Jordan Peterson, he talks about how people need more, men specifically, need more responsibility in order to be happy or to be content or to be fulfilled. It almost seems like Tate is saying the same thing. Would you agree?
Yeah, for sure.
And so, yeah, going back to your point, it's maybe helpful, right, the speed, but is it really the solution?
So I liked at first what he was saying about speed because speed implies movement, and movement is actually literally what gets the nervous system out of a frozen or shut down state. But then the way that he was portraying it was like, I need this speed in order to keep myself going. And I guess I just wonder, if you need that to keep going, then what happens when you do slow down? Like, what is there underneath everything when you do slow down?
No flexibility.
I just like the idea of having the option to do what you want to do, having the option to be able to slow down if that's what you choose in your life. Because at one point, you're gonna get old enough, or you're gonna get to a point in your life where you are forced to slow down at least a little bit. You can't maintain that speed literally forever. And when you do start to slow down, even if it's just a tiny amount, what's gonna be there? Are you still gonna have that happiness? And if not, then what is it that you're gonna have instead?
Exactly. It's any sort of dependency on anything external is just honestly not sustainable, right? And if it's not sustainable, you're just not going to be happy or content or fulfilled in the long run. So the advice on speed from Andrew Tate, it's not that it's not helpful at all. It can be helpful for, someone at a really low point in life. It's just like, imagine treading water, right? For someone that's drowning in the ocean, this sort of work, this sort of speed, responsibility taking, it can keep them afloat for a bit, treading on water, but only for so long, right? Just imagine how long you could tread in water, right? Maybe for a few minutes, or if you're really good, maybe an hour. I'm not sure if that's even possible.
I don't either.
But there's only so long that you can do that, right? And even imagine you being in a car, right? It's almost like saying, in order to keep the car working well, you have to always be moving, on the move. But there's only a certain amount of gas. Eventually the gas will run out.
I like that.
Your gas will also run out, right? So the advice is helpful, and it can be helpful to someone that's at a really low point. I do want to say I don't think it's the best advice for longevity and for true happiness, true fulfillment. Because, it's a very simple thing, right? What is happiness? Whether it's you doing work or whether it's you being lazy, right? That experience is still happening where? Internally. It's all within yourself. So any dependency towards anything external, whether it's work, whether it's pleasure, whether it's friends, family, partner, food. I love food, but whatever. I might have a little dependency towards food. She knows that. But it's just not sustainable. And so once you really face these feelings that you have up front, that's why I'm a big advocate for meditation. Because with meditation, you're really just dedicating 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour to facing your feelings and thoughts firsthand. Because most of the time, doing this sort of work and speed and responsibility taking covers up that feeling, covers up that thought that you have. And eventually what's really happening is that there's pressure building up in the back. And eventually it'll just explode. And that's what leads to all these unconscious reactions, whether it's, you working super hard from work all day and then coming back and then just drinking 10 bottles of wine or beer or whatever else you want to call it. It's just not sustainable. What do you think?
10 bottles of wine's crazy. I like the analogy you used. And it's a good point you bring up. And maybe it's helpful. Maybe it gets you to a point where you're getting a lot done and you're accomplishing all these goals, but is it sustainable?
Yeah.
And how long can you sustain it? Yeah.
Exactly. And I do want to add a quick point here because, again, I know Andrew Tate is a very controversial person. I'm not going to even act like I'm a big fan of him or I'm a hater, but I think it's really important. I really value just open discussion and open conversations. And, instead of alienating people, whether it's Andrew Tate or whoever else, having conversation is so important. So I might really disagree with what you're saying, but just because I disagree doesn't mean I don't want to hear what you're saying. At the end of the day, the way we learn and grow is to share our views together. It's good that we don't agree with things, because if we agreed with everything, it would be boring. So I just want to squeeze that in there. Let's create good, open conversations with everyone. The devil, God, angels. I want to talk to everyone. Elmo too. If you have any other recommendations for other videos or people that we should react to, comment down below.
Well, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next reaction video.